Hey, Brett and Coach here, and today Uptown is doing a winter walk on Wilson, so let's go check it out.
Let's get dressed to stay warm.
The Wilson Winter Walk is put on by the Chamber of Commerce here in Uptown, and it has kind of two sections. First, there's a bunch of businesses doing like samples, and it really gets you in the door. But secondly, there's a big area for a big market for a bunch of different artists and that sort of thing. So with that, we are headed to the market first. Hopefully they have a little guide that we can look at so we can see what businesses we actually want to stop in at. With this walk, I kind of have three goals. First, have fun. That's pretty obvious. Secondly, survive the cold. It's Chicago's winter. And finally, two new businesses that we haven't been in and check them out. And besides the Wilson Winter Walk, the Chamber of Commerce here in Uptown does a bunch of different events. Like they do a wine walk every year, usually in the spring or fall. They do what they call Taste of Uptown, where a bunch of restaurants come together that you can stop at each one and try a bunch of food. And then I also believe that they help with the Argyle Night Market, which is in like the little neighborhood just north of us, that they do 10 different markets of all different Asian culture and Asian excellence, especially with performances. We're about 3 minutes outside. Brian, what did you just say?
It's cold out here.
We're already failing one of our goals, but we will stay warm somehow.
But then we stepped into the market, which has over 30 different vendors with a bunch of different food, dog treats, arts and crafts, stickers, clothing, posters, everything you can think of, perfect for gifts. And Panda Santa as well. We also managed to grab a guide and look down the list to see where we wanted to stop, and figured out our plan of attack with the cold in mind.
So the building we are currently in is actually the old Uptown station for the CTA that was built in like the 1920s. You can even hear the train above us when it goes by. But now it's being converted after being empty for many years into a co-op grocery store. Just left the market. We'll probably swing by towards the end in case if there is anything that catches our eye, we'll be able to grab it and then head directly home with it.
Let's check out Sunflower Bakery.
They aren't actually in that training center. They're down on Marine, which is pretty far east, but very solid banana bread. May have to show up there for the banana bread.
Then we headed next door to Downstate Donuts to grab another sweet sample.
Really good. Really nice bread pudding. And the donuts from Downstate Donuts, top notch. And a good place for coffee too. But I have been to both the fitness center for a different pop-up, and I've been here for donuts before, so we're still looking for a new business to check out. So let's figure out where we're headed next. Brian is not winning the stay warm thing. I had to give him my pair of gloves.
And to warm up our fingers again, we stopped by Poor Boy Rich Taste, which is like a curated vintage boutique, reasonable prices, and a lot of bright colors.
I think I've been trapped. As soon as I put that jacket on, I knew it had to come home with me. Only 25 bucks, which that's not bad at all considering I've paid easily much more than that for clothing. So that is one success of finding a new business and supporting them. So if you're ever in Uptown, check out Poor Boy Rich Taste right on Wilson, just a couple steps away from the Wilson Red Line. And they have some interesting, amazing curated pieces and decent price as well. Now let's check out like a photojournalism gallery.
And we grabbed a snack here too.
Very powerful stuff in the photo gallery, but we're already at our next one, which is next door, which is an insurance place, but I believe they're hosting one of the restaurants nearby. Apparently, it's eggnog. I'm on the fence on eggnog, but let's go try it anyway. One way to warm up, that's for sure. So it was by a restaurant. It was by Marina's Bistro, which I'll show you, which is just kitty corner from the insurance place. Now let's stop into Magnolia Vet Clinic, even though we don't have pets. Always good to stop in case we ever do come across an animal or we do ever decide to adopt. Grabbed a cup of apple cider to share and we're gonna keep moving. Got a cup of miso soup from here at Pokeology, and we got it spicy, so there's a ton of chili oil on top. Great way to warm up, especially on a chilly December day here in Chicago. Apparently it's hot in temperature as well as flavor. I took one spoonful and the chili oil hit the back of my throat immediately. Definitely reminds me of Japan though. Solid A from me. And I've not been to Pokeology either, so that's another business visited. And I really like events like this because it kind of takes the barrier of entry to some of these businesses like down a notch, just because I can say I've been there, so I kind of know what I expect. So maybe I'll have to stop by here and at a couple other restaurants and shops along the way coming up, especially for Christmas shopping. I might have to go back there just for the soup. That was very good and was much needed, even though we ate it outside because it was scalding hot. Like, I don't think it could be hotter without it actually be boiling. But that's definitely a good thing, not a bad. But next up is the place that we frequent probably the most out of this whole list. It is Uptown Tap, which features a bunch of different local breweries as well as having great food and really good burger specials on Monday. They have a brewery of the month, which they give discounts for, which is Beguile for this one. Got some cheese curds, which I know will be good from here. Uptown Tap was probably the busiest I've ever seen it, which it's a good sign. A lot of people were taking a sample of the cheese curds and then we're actually buying a beer. So these events are a great way to get people in the door, in the business, and hopefully coming back as well.
And we stopped to listen to some festive music.
I'm starting to lose the battle about not being cold. Can't really vlog with gloves because I'm using my phone, so my fingertips are starting to get a little chilly.
Next up is Aquarius, which is a fun vintage store that is also curated with a lot of different types of items ranging from glassware to jewelry, as well as plenty of festive items.
I feel like I have to tiptoe and whisper when I'm in this shop. It's really cool and a lot of nice curated vintage stuff, just afraid to touch. And a few of these businesses are relatively new to the neighborhood, like Aquarius that we were just in. I think they're less than a year and a half old, so it is good to see some of these empty storefronts actually get filled with something and more people are wandering around and actually enjoying the neighborhood. We only have one or two more stops in this direction before we're going to turn around and go back to the market, just because I think the cold is winning, but we are definitely having a good time. But next up is Crema Coffee Shop. Unfortunately, Crema was out of hot cider, which was for sample, so we decided to move on, even though they do have a ton of fun seasonal drinks for each time of the year. Last up this direction is Ryan's Liquors. Got a nice little charcuterie hors d'oeuvre.
Even though Ryan's is pretty small, they have plenty of selection when it comes to wine from a bunch of different countries and plenty of beer to choose from too.
The person in front of me in line got the last wine sample, so we're headed back to the market to wrap up. And everything is kind of closing down. There's only 30 minutes left total, so we kind of got to hustle to the last couple stops, especially back to the market if I want any pastries or anything of that sort. Kind of bummed we didn't get to more places in time just because we got home from work a little late, but that's okay. There's always next time, and we can always go to these businesses on our own. Like, that's not a problem at all. We're definitely sprinting around trying to stay warm. Maybe they should do something like this in the spring as almost like a spring cleaning or spring refresh. So I like how I said, oh, we're gonna go to the market last after doing a first walkthrough to pick up anything so I don't have to carry it around. And then 2 stops later, I buy a coat. I think I played myself there, to say the least. But for the price point, it was worth it.
But now it's round 2 for the market. Let's head inside to get warm. And from Banter Marketplace, I bought this hazelnut tart, which was delicious, and a slice of focaccia.
Much better to walk around towards the end when there's a lot less people. I did have to switch to Brian's phone because mine decided to die in the cold with 15% left. So we only have one more stop after here. We're going to check out Sky's Liquors just because it's our local little liquor store we stop at all the time because they're giving out samples for the winter walk. It's called the Windy City for a reason. It's too cold.
Even though we had a ton of fun, I'm glad that we're wrapping up for the night with Sky's Beverage Depot. For the final time tonight, let's head inside. And they too have plenty of options. And we tried Dewy Juice, which reminded me of
Blue Freezy Pop. That wraps up the winter walk presented by the Uptown Chamber of Commerce here in Uptown Chicago. And this has been another Brett in Coach video. If you enjoyed any of this or are interested to learn more about any of the businesses, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite place that we stopped at was. I will see you next time in Coach.